Back to the badgers then. The proposed cull in North Pembrokeshire will not go ahead. The Court of Appeal upheld an appeal by lawyers for the Badger Trust, which argued that the cull was unlawful. There were two main points, really. The judges were unanimous in their decision that the actual cull order had been badly drafted, and they found that it applied to the whole of Wales instead of simply to the pilot cull area, which is where the evidence had been gathered for the cull. So that was one grounds for striking it down. The other grounds for striking it down was that the Rural Affairs Minister had failed to properly weigh up the pros and cons of the action, which she had a statutory obligation to fulfil. That was a majority decision at 2-1. So on either of those counts, it would have been struck down. Now, the cull, as you know, was supposed to be part of a strategy to reduce the incidence of bovine TB. The Welsh Assembly's Rural Affairs Minister Ellen Jones has said she's disappointed by the ruling, but animal welfare campaigners have welcomed it. One of those is the Queen guitarist and songwriter Brian May, who's been supporting that campaign to stop the cull going ahead. I spoke to him earlier and he gave me his reaction.
I'm thrilled, but I suppose cautiously thrilled, because these things are never the end. They're always the beginning of another chapter. But yes, I am thrilled. It could have been so different. I was actually in some trepidation waking up this morning, because if it had gone the other way, I think things would have been really very grim indeed, not only for Wales and its wildlife, but for England too, because everybody, of course, was looking upon this as a testing ground.
Why did you decide to get involved in this?
I've always been concerned with the welfare of animals, always, all my life, but I suppose I've been a fairly busy person, and you tend to work on your career, etc. But recently I've done what I always promised myself I would do, which is set aside a significant portion of my life to actually doing something about it. So I've been campaigning. I don't know if you know, but I have a campaign which we've called Save Me, which is concerned with the welfare of, well, all animals really, but it does focus on wild animals who really have no voice whatsoever. And badgers come within that remit. I was very conscious when we started that Wales was well on the way to culling badgers, and I became involved. I guess I made it my business to become informed about bovine TB. I'm a scientist by training, so in a sense, it comes naturally to me to delve into scientific papers, which is what I did. And there's a very, very definitive study been done called the ISG. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. But it was done over 10 years under the auspices of DEFRA, and 10,000 badgers died for this research. And the conclusion was that the culling of badgers can make no meaningful contribution to the eradication of bovine TB in Britain, which is a very, very clear conclusion. And unfortunately, the Welsh Assembly didn't pay heed to that, and they pressed ahead on, I think, a rather emotional response to a certain group of farmers who I think were wrongly informed.
Well, of course, that bovine TB is a huge problem in parts of Wales and for farmers in parts of Wales, and obviously it costs a lot of money to deal with.
Yes.
What do you say now to those people who have been trying to battle bovine TB and who are supporting this cull, and who would say, what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to get to grips with this problem?
It's very clear. It's one word: vaccination. Vaccination is the way forward. It's been very clearly proved that culling badgers cannot solve this problem. And I certainly don't regard this as a victory against farmers in any sense whatsoever. I think in future years this will be seen as a victory for the farmers, because we will go down the vaccination route and the problem will get solved. And I have to say, make it very clear that I will personally, now that I know a lot of these farmers, I will commit to trying to solve their problem with them, because I feel very strongly about this. Cows are animals too, and farmers are decent people, and this problem needs solving. It was not going to get solved the Ellen Jones way, and this has to be completely reevaluated now, and I'm very happy that it will have to be reevaluated.
There we go. That was Brian May with his reaction, the Queen guitarist who supported that legal action. And just to clarify, it is worth mentioning that as well as the cull, of course, the Welsh Assembly Government introduced cattle control measures on the 1st of May, and those cattle control measures in the cull area are still in place and will continue to stay in place.